Because I think we can start. I wouldn't expect anyone else to show up. I'm gonna share my screen.
Mhm.
Can you guys see the thing on my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so it should be quite formal, but there are only the three of us, so I'm gonna be more like direct, I would say. So this is the introduction to the cultures mapping course, which will be taking the whole summer, as you may already read in our Discord server. And basically, making a map for cultures can be divided into four steps. So I will talk a little about each of those steps, and they are divided into 6 or 7 lectures, which we are gonna tell you each weekend. So the first step to make a cultures map is to draw a terrain template. This is like a stuff which you do in a just regular graphical editor, but it cannot be Paint. It must be something more complicated, so either GIMP or Photoshop. And you just draw here what you want to have on a map, like yellow is sand, blue is water, and so on. There's like a strict palette of colors. And oh, someone joined.
Using.
Oh, yeah. So that's the first part. When you draw the terrain, like you before you do that, you need to have like a base idea in your head about what would be the map, where do you want to place players, and so on. So this is the first step. That's not so complicated as the others. So it's gonna be only one lecture today about this one. That's the first step. The second step is to actually decorate the terrain. That's what you might most likely associate with making a maps. This is for what you can use an editor, and there will be like 1 or 2 lectures about this, depending on how well you guys are gonna be making them up. Because honestly, this is not as complicated as it seems, especially when you play around with the editor that is included in the game. But there are some tricky things going inside if you want to make something more complex, like for example invisible walls or something like that. That's also what's being done in this category, and there are some people who specialize in it. So some mappers might more prefer to decorate terrain, some might prefer it less, because for me it's honestly quite monotonous, because like you need to also decorate empty deserts where there are small stones and so on. So this is more like the part for the artistic guys. But yeah, so that's basically it. You just decorate terrain as you do in the regular editor. I think you might already used it before, so it shouldn't be like a surprise there. But because there are some like quirky ways to do more complex things around, I think 2 lectures about it will be enough. No, the one won't be enough. So that's the second part, which we're gonna be discussing week later and in 2 weeks. And the third part, which is my favorite, but it's like the most convoluted one, I think, is writing the actual script. And as you might see, the 2 previous parts were about something that's more artistic and kind of creative for it's gonna be comfortable for people who are good at arts, who draw the terrain template and decorate it, but it might not so be comfortable to write scripts. This is the Cultures has an underlying programming language which is implemented in the structures of maps, and we can use that language as a programming language to make some more complicated stuff. And not everyone likes it at the beginning, but if you're like more type of a math guy or someone who prefer IT over arts or something like that, that's gonna be like a completely different category of things. You're gonna be able to write code here, and for me, honestly, this is the most comfortable part of making a map, because I prefer math over the arts. So that part will be taught, I think, in the late July, early August, and I will be the one mainly teaching this part. Because I'm not so good at decorating terrain, but I'm better at writing scripts. and will be also two or maybe even three lectures about this part because this is like the most complex one of them all, I would say. So you can make here, for example, a tribute to by soldiers repetitively, or maybe write that if you go hero somewhere, something will happen on the map, and everything else related to how the game internally works. So that's the third point, the most complex one. And the fourth one is something that you would be expecting at the beginning, is composing the story. But actually, the things related to like the qualities of the story are written usually at the end, because if you would be doing that at the beginning, you might like later change your mind about something more specific to the terrain and scripts, which would force you to rewrite the story to fit the world of the game. So, like at the end, after we will be have all things working, all things will be looking pretty. That's the part when we start actually writing the text for our cutscenes. Of course, previously we need to have some general idea what will be the story on the map, but the exact text are usually written at the end. And this is more like a writing skill. Uh, it's probably like the how should I say it? It's a bit refreshing to be able to write just a text from your head after focusing on more complicated things before, like decorating terrain and writing scripts. Those two previous steps are more complex than composing story, I would say. And after you would have those two, you might be like a bit more lazy because you already paid a lot of time doing those things, and you're gonna want to relax, and composing story is a good thing to do so. So in this part, you're gonna be mainly writing text, but it also counts as making a mini map for a map in the graphical editor, and also adding some maybe colorful fonts and images into your text. And then obviously at the end you need to like pack it into one whole project that will be ready to be shipped for players to play. So those are four steps in which you're gonna be making a map. Today we're gonna be drawing the template of the terrain. Then two lectures will be dedicated for decorating the terrain, two or three lectures for writing scripts, and one lecture for composing story. And after that, additionally, there will be one lecture about the internal editor, but that depends how this thing will go. So that's basically the whole thing I had prepared, only those four images. I hope that clarified a bit how the map is created. And today we're gonna be making a PCX template from scratch. So I'm gonna be working on the base Eighth Wonder. It's a bit messy in my version, but it doesn't matter that much. You can work in any editor you want. I would suggest doing it in Remix Editor, because if you're gonna make something in Remix Editor, it might not be compatible with the regular editor. If you have Cultures Nation Mode 1.3, there's only one editor. This is the same thing as the Remix editor, just with a different icon and a different name. Would you guys prefer me to show this on a CN Mode 1.3 or a base Eighth Wonder?
Whichever suits you more, I guess.
Okay,
I don't know which one is the more modern one. I guess the 1.3.
Yeah, 1.3 is used by most players in our community. So basically,
So yeah,
Okay, so yes,
okay, you probably recognize this application. And the part which is in Polish, so I'm not sure should we use it. Is that a problem for you to have a UI in Polish?
I already used like the basic editor before, so I'm more like
Okay, you know which
already played with it.
buttons.
So
Yeah, you know the meaning of the buttons.
yeah,
So all of the things we're gonna be doing today is like if you go to the editor, you have like file, new, and there's this option of loading a file, and then you can load some image and maybe set some size for the map. And then it will automatically generate. So you don't need to actually draw the terrain manually. And the part which we're gonna be doing today is only this loading the terrain part. in the graphical editor. And that's all. We're not going to be using editor today, only this part with the drawing the terrain. So firstly, if you're gonna go to almost any Cultures instance, there's a folder called editor, and inside it there's a folder premaps, there's misc, and the file which you want to find is palette pcx inside. So it's editor premaps miscs, and there's a palette pcx file, and you want to open it via some graphical editor. I'm gonna use GIMP, but it's also possible to open it in PowerPoint. It should look something like that. Tell me if you guys can find it in your Cultures.
Okay, so just give me a second. I forgot to unzip Cultures 1.3. Okay, it's good. So you editor premaps misc palette.
Okay, so you both have it, right?
Yep.
1 second, it's loading up the GIMP,
You need to.
the palette. Yeah, it's loading up. It takes a bit because I'm first time turning on GIMP, so it takes.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna might load a bit. So I'm think. Would you want me to wait, or can I explain further things and you're gonna catch up?
Sure, explain it.
Okay, so one thing you need to remember is that this is not a regular RGB file. That's a big misconception, at least from the technical side, and I want to explain it before we're gonna be drawing the thing. So if you're gonna look in the GIMP image mode, it's called indexed, not RGB. And what does it mean? I think the great explanation is in the documentation of Cultures 1. Like this image might explain it quite well. So basically, regularly, when you have some RGB image, let's say you have something like this, it's each pixel is stored as three numbers. It's green, blue, and red in different order, obviously. And you can like write it as three numbers from 0 to 255. That's like the most common thing to do when you have colors, to just assign those three values to an individual pixel and then use it to color stuff. Cannot use it here. Yeah, so that's the basic idea behind RGB. You might know it, but the PCX is a bit different because we have a concept called color map. And it basically means that this is the image as you would have it. By the way, can you see my mouse on the? I'm not sure if my mouse being recorded.
Yes.
Okay, so the image on the right is like a final output what the user sees when he draws a template. And usually you would expect like the blue here, for example, be three values for each pixel. But PCX works a bit differently. It stores like indices of numbers which are referred to a color map. So like here, it stores only 0. It doesn't store it, it's 0 for red, it's 0 for green, and it's full for blue. No, it stores only 0, and then it checks in color map which color is it, and then it displays blue. So that's kind of a compression algorithm which is used by a PCX file format. And the only like important thing from it is that the idea of color map, it's not present in regular PNG or JPEGs or BMP. It's present only in like the PCX and some other obscure old file types. So if I have such a file as here, I just opened it. This is the regular palette from the game. And if I'm gonna create the new image with the same size and place it here in my palette, this is not the same file as here, because this one has a hidden palette behind it, and this one has not. This is just a regular RGB file. And to check if this is correctly made, this is gonna be important later when loading to the editor. We need to go to image and check if the mode is set to indexed. If it's not, there was some way to fix it. Yeah, basically, if it's not, you need to like open this file. The palette can be viewed in Windows dockable dialogs and color map. So you can see that the blue here is actually 0 because it's in the top left corner, and then all colors are like increased. Like the light blue is 1, same as those numbers here. You can see that 22 is lava, is 22 also here written by the developers. And basically when the game, it's important because when the game loads the file into the game, into the editor, it only cares about the bitmap part, not the image and color map. So it's not like the red is lava, it's actually the 22 that is lava. And for example, if you would look to some existing PCX, I'm not sure which one it's gonna be, but in some of them, you might see that sorry, not this folder, that the roads, for example, you would expect them to be gray as they are here, but sometimes they are red because they can be 15 and be red. Like, I think it was Arabia. Not sure which PCX it was. Here it's... Okay, so here you can see a PCX of something that is probably in Israel. And here, if you're gonna go to the red thing, the red color, it's actually 15. So it's not a lava, it's a road. And that's kind of a misconception that colors are unimportant. They are not. What is important is to use indices. And that's why we need to use a GIMP or Photoshop, because Paint doesn't have this option. Paint only cares about the actual RGB values, not about the indices which are here. Did you guys understood it, what I meant by this?
Yeah, so it uses a palette that's
Okay.
already pre-made.
Yeah, so basically...
The numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So this image has a palette, this doesn't. So if you want to have like a clear new file, you don't actually create it as a new file. You want to open this file called palette. This one. And if you want to turn it into some... I'm gonna open it again because I want to have a copy of it. If you want, for example, to have a PCX of size, let's say 400 by 400, you're gonna go to image canvas size. Here you're gonna set the size of the map which you want to have. It doesn't need to be that much precise. You can rescale it, but it has to be like roughly the size of what you want to make in the game. So for example, I'm gonna reset it to 400 by 400. Then you want to delete this layer and create new layer. And this creates an empty image, just as you would expect from a regular editor, but it preserves the color map. So one funny thing about this is that I can draw the colors which are in the color map, but if I would try to switch to something different, it's gonna warp me to the nearest color which is in the palette. So you can see I cannot use this like pure blue. It's gonna warp me to some darker blue, which is present in the palette as a color 0.
Okay.
So
Yes, I get it.
yeah, it's important. Okay,
So
go on.
your advice is to open palette in Photoshop or GIMP, and then create a new image. Modify the image to the size of our map, and then we can paint on it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And you can see if it's correct by trying to draw some colors which shouldn't be valid. Like for example, I'm gonna try to
choose the numbers over the colors.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the technical part, which not everyone explains. And now we're gonna go to like a more artistic things. I thought that Aris was for a bit. He might want to explain this, but I guess it's not his week, so I will have to do this alone without Emily. So basically, here you want to draw something like the existing PCXs. Like it's usually the full name of this kind of files is terrain templates, but everyone calls just PCX files because that's a shorter version. So you just want to draw something like this for your map. that's quite artistic, so I can make some pro tips about it. The first thing is to try to not copy things from existing PCXs because they are really well known. And if you're gonna try to copy something, people will almost like most veterans will easily realize that you copied someone else's terrain. So what I like to do when I need to draw this like jagged pattern like here is to use Google Earth for context. So I'm gonna launch it. Uh, and then you can place a Google Earth image here and work on like the edge of the terrain there. Also, one thing which we can do is to create an. Someone wanted to ask something, or did I misheard?
No, nobody going to.
Okay, one thing which I forgot to tell you, the technical stuff, is that we can draw the image first as something external, and then we can copy it onto the uh, our
Like a
PCX
stencil.
file.
Like a stencil.
Kinda, yeah. Because if I would copy the Google Earth image here, you can disable the labels in the bottom left corner. If I go, let's say I want to, for example, make some of those islands, use them as a reference. I can copy them, and if I would use them here, they will be pasted regularly. But if I would do it here, they will be like warped to the nearest color. So you want firstly to do it in a regular as a regular image, and then modify it to and then just paste it into the previous location. So here, let's say for example, I want only this like bottom coast to be my coast, and I want like the land to be uh, somewhere, for example, here. I want this to be land, and I want this exact coast because yeah, the Earth already has a lot of curves which we can use to our advantage, not to draw them by ourselves, just to uh, mimic the existing terrain. That's a that's what I like to do when I draw PCX files. And so basically, you want to like, for example, make a new layer and then draw the outline of this, or you can also use the tool to catch some points and then crop it. So I'm gonna use this one. You want to zoom in. It's gonna be like a kind of a Bob Ross tutorial when I draw the thing. I don't even have an idea of a map in my head, so I'm gonna be kind of spontaneous about that. I hope you guys do. Okay, so let's say that's enough because that's quite a monotonous part. And I want to use this coastline somewhere, so I can just copy this part. Then I'm not sure how detailed should I be in using the GIMP program. Are you guys familiar with it enough to like recognize what I'm doing, or should I like explain how I every move?
On my side, it's okay. I don't have bad stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat?
I think what I wanted to say was I think I can get around it because I already have somebody that can explain to me how to use it actually, like the program to its fullest.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know about Vathor, but I don't know what he said. Vathor,
It was
can you?
okay. I can easily use Photoshop or GIMP, so no need to
Nah.
repeat.
Okay, so I'm gonna proceed to continue, hoping that you understand, guys. So here, for example, I want to use this coastline as something that's gonna be C in the corner, maybe. I'm gonna fill it in a new layer.
Okay.
And that's gonna be like the coastline. I can also do something like this that I can.
Just so we're clear, we can completely, draw the map with colors using those colors, and then import it into a PCX file, and it would work as a template.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And it's also really. Yes, Snoopy wanted to.
It seems to me kind of more similar to like when making like this, what you're making now. It makes it a bit easier to just like kind of make it in this part and then just copy paste it into PCX and then just fill the parts which you want with bucket. Because like mostly it's just squared off, so you can just kind of use the bucket to, if you have circles or something, if you have a coastline like this, and just put it with already pre-made, just fill it with bucket because it's mostly like if
Yeah.
you're kind of like want to draw pets or something, you can just it stops somewhere, so you can just use bucket, and it's not going to feel like everything everywhere because that's kind of how the bucket works.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like a bit easier to me than actually like you just make a whole template and then just you color it in the PCX file. So because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can see a lot of small like rocks and everything, so you can just kind of just bucket it from when you
Yeah,
put it
you
into the.
can do that, but you need to. They are like, if you are gonna draw something that's, for example, brown, you're not always sure which will work to like desert B or desert D, and they are like, or clay. They are like a bit. Those colors are quite similar, and you don't. If you don't use the exact hex code of them, uh, they can. It's gonna be hard to predict which of those colors the terrain will become after you're gonna import it as a PCX file.
Yeah, but when you go back to where you had on the top right, you had like all the colors selected that you can use like for the indexes. I
Yeah,
don't know. Uh,
this thing. Wait, oh,
yeah,
it's not
I
there.
mean,
It's here. Yeah,
yeah. So you have it like here. So like I have a reference sheet on like the first or second one that you have opened, and I can just like kind of draw all the layout on the non-PCX file and then just kind of fill it with this because I can just go click, I need that desert here, I want the desert this kind
yeah,
here,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
just kind of fill it.
You can copy colors from there. Yeah, that's a common practice to do.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think it's seems a bit easier. So like I just draw it in there and just fill it with all the like referencing. I want lava here, desert here, ice here, I don't know, like a beach here, and then just kind of fill it because I already have a pre-made template sheet.
Yeah,
You know what I want to say because like
yeah,
mostly
exactly.
when you go to a template, you have already like let's go to like the fourth one you have up there selected.
Mm,
So you have a lot of like roads or something and like a lot of plains and like beaches and everything, and it's all kind of like sectioned off, like let's say it like that, and you just use a bucket and just like I want, I don't know, like snow there, and it's going to fill that part with snow because that's how colors work, no?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
so
this.
that's going to be, everything is going to be snow in that part, because I wanted
Yeah,
that there because I already have a pre-made template in some kind I imagined.
yeah, but that only works if you already have a template with the shapes. But making the shapes itself from cutting the
Yeah, but
things
you make like the border,
like
like all the
this.
shapes you want, like you can just like use, I don't know, like a pen or whatever, I don't know
Yeah,
how is it
exactly.
themed. Just draw the outline and like kind of fill it with bucket, and then later on I import it in PCX and then just like bucket it into actual terrain that I want, that the game is going to recognize.
Yeah,
If that makes sense, what I'm saying, I don't know if
exactly.
it
Yeah, I'm
makes.
not so comfortable with drawing curves myself, so I usually use some edges on the Google Maps. That's my way to make a like realistic terrain, like those islands in the north of the Canada and the islands like in the Indonesia and Philippines. Like no one really recognizes them at the first glance, so it's really good to use them. I use them a lot.
Yeah,
It's
or you
not.
can just remake your own terrain, like you want to do
Yeah,
because it's a game after all.
it's not so good to use Europe because everyone recognizes it immediately. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, but I already saw like, since I don't know this is being recorded, but there is like AI programs that can just like draw random, like let's create maps, and you can use that kind of like
Yeah,
as
there are.
a reference,
Yeah, exactly. There are
so
some.
you can just draw it.
Yeah, I think there are some like maps generator,
Yeah, no,
but I'm not
I think I
sure.
have one saved on YouTube. 1 second. I don't know, like
No,
one AI, because I saw it because I was thinking about like making it like my own, let's say it a map, because that will take some time. Just 1 second, because I saw this like because I'm a bit into D&D, not really that much, but let's see if this works. 1 second. I'll send it to you in a second. Let's see. Let's see. 1 second.
I think someone sent me back a few years ago some really good.
I don't know how this really works. Where are you here? This one. I saw a thing like this one, so you can like kind of make it here and use other people's
Oh yeah,
terrain.
kinda
Like I don't know
yes.
if this is the same, and there's like I think a generator medieval like I don't know if this is like for a city, but like there is probably a thing where you can just like make a whole map or something.
Yeah,
This is like some kind of third party, but there is like also I think a generator actually like which uses like I don't know AI or something that actually generates it. So like you
yeah,
can like use, let's say like this, you can use something like this. I don't know if it's third party made, but like you can I don't know use like as a reference sheet or something for making your own map. You know what I want to.
yeah. But it still needs like a heavy modifications because if I would like
Yeah,
just
of course,
import
but
it
like I don't know
rawly,
if you're not really a creative guy as me, like as like creating terrain or something or story, you can just kind of use this kind of as a reference
yeah,
to make it a bit more to have a bit more quality, let's say, than actually just like trying your best or something. I don't know, because I'm not really most creative guy. I'm more like of a actually making like all the coding and everything guy,
yeah.
not
Me
actually like
too.
decorating.
Yeah, someone else should taught you this part because I'm also not so good about drawing PCX files.
This is my first time seeing him just saying, but I have a decent background in coding and everything, and kind of like all those kind of things. So I'm kind of let's say familiar with it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's one more thing which I wanted to show you. Like here, I imported this into the PCX file. I'm gonna show you how this looks in the game. Just be sure to not overwrite palette PCX and make it a new file. Let's call it a template. And just keep the GIMP open because we're gonna be going back to this. If I'm now gonna open the editor, and I'm gonna try to load this file. It was 400 by 400 for me. And you can see there's like a sea there as I drew it, and there's a land. And it also randomly generates the height map.
What
So you
randomly generates?
the height map, so you don't need to manually like make it higher and lower. The water is by default lower than the um, grass. Also, that's also one useful use case if you want to make maybe if you want here to actually this if you want this to have a grass but you want it to be like a higher somewhere, you can use it to be you can make it mountains and then later modify it to be a grass. If you're gonna make it to
I
be
can. Oh my god, this is so big.
yeah, it's kind
Uh,
of it's
let me show you one thing
okay.
if you want to check it out really quickly. So I found like a thing like this one, which like you can kind of make like I don't know. This is like just like a reference. Like you can see it. Not this. No. So like this is like a big map. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Like you can
I saw
that
it
kind of like
some.
you know because like if you're not really a creative type as me, so you can have like something like this, and like you can just kind of use it like I don't know, I drew like some kind of I don't know what this is like, but it's mostly random. So like it kind of has like random cities. It has like indicators for like I don't know mountains, forest. I don't know what this is, a desert or something. You know, if you're not really a creative type as me,
Yeah,
at like let's say drawing it. So you can like just kind of use this as a reference and then go into like make a PCX file like I don't know with a pen or something, and you know like you stated before, and
yeah,
then just paste it in and like just bucket it like I need land here, I need snow here, I need that there, and you know.
yeah. Also, finishing the thing with the mountains, you can make it like a grass but higher. So like, if you want here to be a grass, but actually there you want this grass to look like a mountain. You can make it a mountain and then later make it a grass. So if I would make a mountain here, but in the PCX file, it's gonna be higher, just like this in the editor, and then you can manually cover it up, and it's gonna look like a hill of grass.
Mm.
It's not so good here. I'm not good at drawing terrain, but yeah, I think you got the idea. Okay, so one important thing is that it's sometimes hard to judge the width of the river just by looking at it in the PCX file. That's the thing which I wanted to mm, talk about. So let's say I'm gonna draw a river like that. Aspect ratio should be 0. Yeah, I want to draw a river like that, and I might have some idea that it's gonna be thick enough to have a few ships maybe. So I'm gonna check this by exporting it to a template, and now I'm gonna import this template into the game. Square 400 by 400, and it's actually less thinner than I would expect. So that's one illusion, I would say, of a PCX templates, that things like roads and rivers and so on are a lot thinner than you would expect it to be from the template. So you actually don't need to put attention that much into details. Let's, for example, say someone would care so much to make there a small island, and he would remove here maybe a 2 pixels to make this a lone island. Now I'm gonna kinda ironically save it, load it into the game as I did before, and you're gonna see it's not gonna be an island, it's gonna be like I'm not gonna think there will be anything there. Because yeah, you can't even see this. There's like
It's too small.
yeah, it kinda modified the height there. It's not as deep as the regular water, but it didn't matter. So the important part is to not to matter too much about the details here, like the individual pixels, because some people with the templates they were gonna go, oh, this island has slightly bad shape. I'm gonna modify it a bit. You don't want to do this for every like a bunch of pixels. That's gonna be too much of a
I want to
time
do that
waste.
in the editor actually.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You just need to have a like a big outline but without the details, because the editor which will gonna cramp them into not important stuff later when it's gonna be imported. So only like the general shape of the things matters there. Yeah, so it's important to keep in mind that everything here seems to be smaller than it actually is. So if you want this river to be as big as it actually appears here, as a kind of illusion, you might want to maybe draw it 2 times thick or something like that. Like that would already seem to be quite a big lake. And if you're gonna import it, it's gonna be smaller than you would expect. Uh, yeah, and it's a bit smaller than I would expect. Yeah, so it's really good to have like a GIMP and editor open simultaneously and just check uh, every few minutes. Does the thing do the thing which you do? Is it like the proper size? Because it's really easy to get into the illusion that what you're doing is significant, but is actually not so much. Yeah. So
Better be careful about it.
yeah, you don't need to be that much careful. Also, I don't know. I can like try to draw it further, but I think you got the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, here in that editor, you just need to remember that it's file new and then load it, because common misconception, at least it was in the past, that people tried to file open and it didn't work. If I'm gonna do this for some reason, I think it's gonna crash the thing. No, it's not gonna work. Yeah, so it's file new, not file open. It's a silly mistake, but it happens sometimes. Yeah. Also, if you want to use some parts of the free PCX, I know I told you not to do so because people might recognize them. Like this is the last mission from Gates of Asgard. There's also a free pack of of the templates. It's made by Proshak, and he doesn't mind that much if someone uses them. It's either available in the CN mode, or you can go to our website and download it from here. We actually have a separate section for that, though I forgot about it entirely. If you're gonna go to server download, it's called PCX files. And here there are some templates made by people, so you can freely use those templates, and you just need to credit the person who made it after you're gonna release the map. So like Proshak made a lot of these, but Kakus, Matusz, and Rumu also made like one or two of them. And this is the default one present in the game. Yeah.
Nice.
There was also a PCX called Cień, which means shadow in Polish, but I'm not sure is it here. It might be as Lost Media, but I'm not sure. Uh, yeah, it's here. Okay, will it open? This is like a quite strange PCX. I wanted to talk about it. Uh, where it's it's a different one.
This one is from the
Yeah,
Icon map, the
I
one with the
know.
snakes
I
in the
don't
middle,
know
I
why.
think.
Is it? Yeah, this is from a secret village mission.
That one, that one.
Yeah, there was a PCX file somewhere when you can make a little chessboard, and it's gonna trick the game into modifying the height without modifying the terrain. But I'm not sure. It might be a lost media, but I thought it might be this chain PCX, but it actually isn't. Yeah, so I think from my side that's most of the things which I can taught you here. I'm also not so good about making because the rest is just an artistic expression. I'm also not so good about this, and it's time consuming to do. Uh, the good practice also is to with the water to just always remember to include the shallow one around the coastline. Like that's quite common. Yeah. Oh, and
Why so the shallow one? Just because of
no, it's just a convention
the
that it looks better
ah
closer to the shore. That's all the things.
yeah.
And also one important thing is that I'm not sure it's beach with sound and beach without sound wrongly written here. It might be reversed, but I'm not sure. Basically, don't use beach with sound. Don't use these two if you want to make a desert, because one of them, but I'm not sure which one is it, because those names are not so accurate. I thought they were might be a mistake there. One of them has like a sounds of a beach with like those white seagulls, they are called in English. Okay, they have like
Seagulls.
a sounds of seagulls and waves, and it might be a bit confusing if you would have sounds of seagulls in the middle of the desert. So
Definitely.
yeah, so you can use those for desert. They appear to be quite brown, but if you would actually compare them to what's inside the editor, they are much more yellowish than you would expect. Also, the sound A and sound B, one of them is this with sound and this without sound, but I don't remember which one is it. Yeah, but for the
Kinda,
desert, usually use those.
yeah, so we can kind of just draw the map in the GIMP, or we can just draw it like straight out in the editor.
Yeah, you can draw it also straight out in the editor, but that's gonna be much more time consuming.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's also
but
possible to draw it manually.
yeah, but how come when in drawing in GIMP, how come that there are different random height differences? How does that happen?
It happens inside the editor. Like here it's flat, and when I
Yeah.
import this into the editor, the editor will randomize the height on its own. I think I'm gonna add
Ah.
some mountains to just show you how it works because it looks really good on mountains. Maybe here. That's not so aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say I have a patch of mountains there. I want to open it. It was 400 by 400 for me. And you can see it randomly made it higher. If I would cover it with the middle to compare it, it's gonna be a bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, here I think it's just a straight line, and here it's the randomized part. But
Yeah, because
here,
it tried to like on the top of it to be like the same.
yeah, it's tried to blend it here more importantly than to make it look natural. But you can still like
Yeah.
go here and manually change it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bit, yeah, more natural and randomized.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's all I can teach you about this topic. If you would have some specific questions, the person who specializes in this topic the most is the Proshak. He actually like draw a lot of those PCX files. So he's really good at drawing this, and if you would need to like have some artistic advice, he might be a good person to ask to, but I'm not sure how much time he has right now. But he would probably be eager to help if he had the time for that. So yeah, he's gonna draw something much better than I did here. I might actually have some old PCX file ready to show you how they look like before exporting. A second. But I'm not sure about this. I forgot where it was. No, I don't have it, but I had like a template of some maps. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think the
Yeah,
searching
I
is
don't think
the
it's gonna
easiest
work.
thing.
Yeah. Maybe here.
Here you have some
Oh
PCXs.
yeah, here I have some PCXs which I that's gonna be a bit. No, I don't think it's gonna be. Oh yeah, here's what I drew a few months ago. So that's how it's gonna look like. For just like a nice outline, you can use a constant distance from the type of terrain. So let's say, for example, I want to blend the grass with the mountains, with the stony desert. I can like use the wand somewhere here to select the mountain. I forgot where it was in GIMP because I don't use it that much often. This function. It was like oh, here's the magic wand. You can use it, click it to select the mountain, and then we can like use select, grow, and for example 5, and now I can fill the color, and that's gonna have like a constant distance from the mountain. And if
That
I go,
seems nice. So that's good for the drawing coastal, let's say, like
yeah,
if you want shallow water and
yeah, exactly,
nice.
yeah.
That's a neat trick.
Yeah, and here you can see with those maps, they did it twice. The one line was with the beach, and the second line was with the shallow water.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used it with the mountains for it, making it like I don't know, is that a stony ground or something? For the mountains, I
yeah.
also used it. Mm.
Okay, so I can
Yeah, but
export.
mhm.
I can show how this is gonna look like in the editor. Yeah, and you see, it's also not as thick as I would expect.
Yeah, so you're probably just gonna like fix it or here or just like fix it in the PCX file,
Yeah, but
whichever
you
is the easier for the user.
yeah, but that's a good example that you need to constantly verify is the thing thick enough because you're not gonna get an intuition from just a raw image here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's much thinner than I expected. Yeah,
Yeah, you probably wanted to use like 10 or something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's a neat trick.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah. So I think that's everything from my side. So next week there will be who was it supposed to be? I think it was Ares and Andrew. Ares and Emil. Okay, so they're gonna be explaining how to draw things with the editor, how to use those all functionalities here. That's gonna be next week. How to like make a nice landscapes and other artistic stuff in the editor and so on. So if you guys want to make your own map for the end of this course, you can like make a PCX file for now. Just have it fully ready for the next week. And next week you're gonna be starting to decorate it and add some more subtle changes. But for now, you just need to have a starting PCX file. So we can stay here on the chat a bit longer, and you can show me how you draw it if you want. But you can also treat it as kind of homework, quote unquote, if you want. That you're gonna make it till the next week, and next week other teachers, quote unquote, will start where I left, and they will teach you how to make the terrain in the editor look much better and more detailed.
Okay.
So do you want to like stay and show how you draw it, or do you want to like do it
I
later?
think,
Instead, I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
yeah, I think I will do it in some when we have more free time. But yeah, I'll definitely think about it, making it.
Yeah, you can share your progress on the mapping text channel, or send it directly to me or Proshak. Proshak will be able to make probably the best like the judgment is about the quality, but he's not so much active.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I think that's all for today.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did you like it, guys, or should I like
Yes,
check?
yes, it was
Yes.
Okay.
good. Understood a lot, and yes, at first I was like, why not do everything in editor? But as you explained, it really helps to gain some time because I myself tried to do a map fully in the editor, and yeah, it was very time consuming.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yes.
I find the trick with like AI really, I don't know, helpful because like some people are just not creative as much, and like I don't know, probably like the tips from the other guys that are going to be like next week here are going to give us some tips when like making terrain or something like kind of make it more natural, let's say like that,
Yeah.
and like do not have like I don't know green trees in the middle of it without like I don't know being a oasis or something and those kind of things.
Yeah. There's some like really sneaky tricks. I can show you one as a spoiler
I
if you
think
want.
the I don't know. I think the biggest problem I don't know I had like I don't know when I was like playing around with the editor was making bridges actually connect to land. I
Oh
think that
yeah,
was like the biggest issue for me.
it should be taught in the next week, but I can tell you that bridge is just an illusion. You need to have a land beneath it. So
Yeah, but
you,
how do they like I don't know they in the game they make it look so like not noticeable like the land underneath. Yeah, because like you just did it now and
yeah, I
like
know
how the
it's noticeable. Yeah,
how the fuck pretty like I don't know.
yeah, it's not
Yeah, like
so. Yeah, and now it's gonna be impossible to walk on.
yeah, because like they make it just kind of like unnoticeable and they just walk over it.
Yeah, so that's gonna be
I think
taught
that's.
next week. Yeah.
Mhm.
I asked a question once and no one answered. Is it possible someday to build bridges?
Uh, I
Mhm.
don't think so. Well, you might be able to build them as a building, but not as a connection between two separate lands.
Oh,
Okay.
Because
you mean like in future to be able? Oh no, that's
no,
that's
that's
not
not
possible.
gonna happen. It would need require us to heavily modifying the engine. That's not gonna happen
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Yeah, because bridges are just an illusion. They are really just an image, and people really
yeah,
walk under them, even if you don't see this.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Um,
think that's everything.
yeah. Thank you for taking your time. Teachers, I think I'll get the